Hello everyone, good afternoon. Can everyone hear me? I feel like we are all on a long haul flight with our headphones on, or alternately, we could be in Lincoln Park in 2009. You choose which one of those you would like to be in. As this is a long haul flight and you do have your headphones on, I will be serving alcohol to you if you would like to take a beer. Who would like a beer? It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Here we go. Take one, hand it back. This could take the full 20 minutes, people. So I will try and speed this up as much as I can. Let's go all the way back to economy. Economy people at the back. Here we go. I'm running. There's lots of excitement from this row. Here you go. Take one, hand it back. Okay, we're just running through business. Okay, we've got 2 left, people. Who wants a beer? Okay, all right. Here we go. So when I've finished doing this, I'm going to talk to you about some stuff, basically. I'm going to go this way. There you go. It's a nice smile. I'm going to go to you as well. There we go. Take one hand on. So I'm going to talk to you about stuff, right? And this is a presentation about influencers and creators and people like that, right? Now, what I'm going to say to you, you can basically agree with it or disagree with it, and I don't mind, right? The only difference between me and you is the fact that I'm holding the microphone, right? I'm not saying at Beavertown we've got it right, and I'm not saying we've got it wrong, but hopefully I say some stuff, and you go, yeah, okay, this is interesting. And that's the point of the presentation. So that's what we're going to do. So, here's a radical thought for you. Are influencers and creators people, or are they media channels, right? Now, when I have a lot of conversations about influencers, creators, activations through social channels, yada, 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 right? You end up talking about human beings like they're a media channel. But they're not a media channel. They're a human being, right? So maybe we need to decommoditize how we talk about influencers and creators into talking about them, about entrepreneurs who are creating brands, right? Because how many times have you sat in a meeting and someone says, okay, what's the influencer plan, blah, 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 blah. And the most senior person in the room goes, how much? How much of it? With 50 grand for a video on TikTok? Are you having a laugh, right? Because we're looking upon it as a media channel. We're not looking upon it as human beings. So let's think about the human aspect of creation and the beauty of it. Now, to bring this to life, which one of these is a real person? As we've got headphones on, just point. Is it this person here? Is it that person over there? Like, who's the real person? This is a bit, thank you for participating, the nice person in stripy jacket. No one else fucking participated. Right, fucking participate. This is the fucking participation slide. Right. Which one's fucking human? This one or this one? Okay, fine. So here's the thing. This person is human, right? This is a real person, and it's a person from our new campaign, our Humans and Other Social Beings. It's on TV. Go and like it on social channels. It will help me. It will help the team. In fact, share it if you like it. In fact, if you don't like it, share it anyway, right? All good stuff. This is a human, right? This person is an AI invented influencer, right? They are not real, right? They are not a real human being. They are invented by AI. And supposedly, and I don't know, I just Google stuff, they earn like $100,000 a month in brand syndicated work, even though they're not a real person, right? Now, I kind of get it. And if you go to their social channels, there's people having full-on conversations with them about your hair looks amazing, what are you doing today? And it responds and says, oh, I'm going to the gym and whatever. Now, someone that was far cleverer than me said to me once that AI is as important as the invention of the steam engine, right? I was like, fuck, right? No, I don't know if I agree or disagree, but it's an interesting point of view. Now, the thing about AI influencers it can go a little bit like this. AI influencers are making their secretive creators thousands of dollars, right? Nothing mucky about this, is there? Nothing mucky, all above board. We're all good. And I thought to myself, well, hang on, this sounds like propaganda, doesn't it? It sounds like anti-AI propaganda. How do I truly understand what influencers are doing in this space? I need to go to a completely impartial, non-biased site to find out what's happening. So I went to the Daily Mail. And the Daily Mail said how AI threatens extinction of the human race as Bill Gates, hang on a minute, Bill Gates is really clever, so whatever he's about to say must ultimately be true, right? Bill Gates says he's stunned by robot brains, and Elon Musk says advantages must stop. Well, hang on a minute, Elon Musk is completely fucking mad. So if he's fucking mad and he says it must stop, it must really stop. This is absolutely ludicrous. What's happening here? Fears grow. Machines could launch their own cyber attacks, drone wars, or even opt, which I quite like I've opted into this marketing, or opt in to harvest people for their minerals. Now, I work for a brewery. There is nothing left in me to harvest, right? There are no minerals in me left. But if I take someone like Rory down here, who's healthy and fit and works for Gymbox, he is fucked. They are going to harvest him for months, right? I will be okay. Rory will be fucked. So I thought, hang on a minute, we need to go a bit deeper into this, don't we? I feel like the truth is it's right in front of me. But if machines are allowed to become more intelligent or more powerful than humans, the fundamental question of who will be in control, us or them, should keep us all awake at night. And here you were, turning up, thinking, I'm woken up at night, I'm awake at night about who is my influencers. What's my influencer strategy? Am I going to find the answer today? Well, fuck that, you should be awake about this. And the good news is the Daily Mail gave a visual representation of the person that is coming to harvest you. Now, let's get back to the point, people. So humans, let's stop the AI stuff and let's just talk about real human beings instead of drone attacks for a minute. So here's some points of view that I believe in. I believe that authenticity is key. I believe that real people walking around the streets buying our products, not in this wonderful London bubble, but in other places, can see authenticity. And what's important is brand love. Now, for me, if you can find an influencer that you want to work with on a campaign that already loves your brand, you're in a good place, right? That is a good thing to do. How do you fuel that more? Because here's the thing. When we see influencers use products that are out of their world, it looks like bollocks, right? We don't believe it. It isn't true. We're really smart, right? So that brand alignment and that brand love is really, really important. And linked to that, and this is kind of like one of those classic things that marketeers say, but does it align to your values? And what I mean by that is not can you draw a really wonky line between your brand values and what that influencer does, but can you see it? Can normal people see it, right? Does it truly represent the values? Is the video they did last week or last month or a year ago, does that represent your values? And the last thing is is it believable? Are people going to look at it and think, yeah, I totally get this? Do you believe it, right? Do you believe the brand association? And the other point is, can it fit into your marketing mix, right? So if you're going to do influencer stuff, the most important question you can ask, regardless of what your role is why? Why are we doing this? Now, if your boss asks you to do something, and in your mind you're thinking, this is fucking mental, and I have no idea why we're doing this, the most powerful question you can ask is why, right? Just explain that to me a little bit more. So what's the backstory here? And it's the same with influencers, right? And I feel a lot of brands do it because it kind of feels like one of those things you kind of should do. It's like brands when they dabble a little bit into AI. I don't really know why I'm doing this, but it kind of makes sense. Ask why, right? And ask, does it fit the campaign? Do having creators or influencers fit to what we're doing in this campaign? Not shoehorning in at the end, not because we've got a bit of budget left on the media spend and we don't quite know what to do with it and we don't want to put it into TV or outdoor or whatever else. Does it truly fit? And equally, and very importantly, what you're asking them to do, does it fit their channel, right? Does it look out of kilter or does it fit? Because again, from an authenticity perspective, you want it to make sense. So I'll give you an example. This is a comedian called Josh Berry, big on Instagram, very funny. And we love him at Beavertown, right? And the reason we love him is because he loves us naturally. And he's consistently doing stuff in pubs, and that's sort of his humour. He's talking about Necro, he's got our pint glass and all the rest of it. And we were like, well, it kind of makes sense for us to do something with him, right? We've got a campaign about telling stories. He tells funny stories. But here's the thing, right? I was like super nervous about doing it because the beauty of someone talking about your brand naturally is so much more powerful than paying someone to talk about your brand. And the minute we pay him, do we break that thing, right? And we can all think about brands when they've gone into stuff, and I've done it, where you're like, yeah, it's an influencer and they like the brand and then we pay them to do it, and then you look back and you're like, oh, it feels a bit fucking awkward, doesn't it, right? But he loves the brand, right? So we thought, okay, well, it kind of makes sense, right? But another thing about Josh is, it's about depth over reach, right? Now, often you will go, who's the biggest person that's relevant to our audience that we think can fit the product, the thing, the promotion, the event, the campaign that we want them to talk about, right? But I would challenge you that actually going to someone that has less followers, less influence, but it's much deeper with their audience is significantly more powerful than just going to someone that has huge reach, that brand A comes in one day, brand B comes in the second day, brand C comes in the third day. So I'll give you an example, which is, we're like big into Halloween, right? If you look at our products, there's quite a lot of skulls on it, right? Going out at Halloween, dressing up, having a mad night, it's big, right? Getting the beers in to watch horror movies, big, right? Halloween works for us. I would rather go to heavy Halloween influencers, right, that have a small base than go to someone broad, right? Because I know that small base is going to absolutely love what they're looking at, right? Instead of just, yeah, it's quite interesting. And then I float on to look at an AI video of Gareth Southgate talking about how awful England were, right? Do you know what I mean? So depth over reach. And try to give people the ability to run with the brand without limitations. Because if they're right for you, and you believe in their authenticity, and you think that they mix their content for that channel makes sense to you, then why would you put limits on them, right? You wouldn't, because it works, because all of those previous things that I've talked about stacks up to make sense. And the next thing that we try to do at Beavertown, there's lots of other brands that are really great at this, BBC are really great at it, is like spot talent early. So this is Dom, who does drum and bass on a bike, or rave on a bike. So we worked with him in 2001, and he went on to do, you know, massive stuff, and basically like, so this is his vibe. So we kind of like sponsored or put that together or whatever with him. He was already doing it. And I heard about him because I basically got my first COVID injection, and I was lying on my sofa thinking that the world was about to end, literally for me, right? And a mate sent it to me and was like, look, he does it in our hometown. And it was just him on a bike with no one else. I was like, wicked, this feels like something we should get on, right? So spotting that talent is really, really important. As he's thinking about things from a long-term perspective, if we go back to the concept of people being human, really, what do we have, right? Relationships, right? That's what we have. So creating a long-term relationship with people is really important. So we did this campaign which is called Open Up with Calm, the charity, who are the campaign against living miserably. And basically, classic pub stuff, you go in, get a bag of crisps, you open it up, and within it are basically questions to have a chat with your mate that might open up a conversation. Nothing too deep, just opening up, talking about how are you, right? Now, this is a long-term commitment that we have with Calm to do stuff, right? And that's really important to us, because I think if you really believe in the creator content and your influencer content, don't just do it for a little bit, right? Dedicate yourself to it, because ultimately consumers don't give a shit about your brands, right? And as marketers, we really think they don't. They're living lives, they're paying for stuff, they don't have enough money for rent, there's issues, right? So like committing to stuff helps you convey your brand for longer and plugs people in. And then I'd just like to talk about stretching what's seen as influence and content, because ultimately, isn't everything a collaboration, right? It's just a collaboration between the brand and the person. So we did something with Queens of the Stone Age, a big rock band. We did a music video with them. Here's a little bit of it. Now, ultimately, we just used Queens of the Stone Age in the same way you would an influencer. They happened to be headlining Glastonbury that year, which was quite helpful, right? But ultimately, we used it in the same way. So just broaden how we think about collaboration. Like, I'm a huge fan of Peloton, right? Huge fan of Peloton, right? They literally have influencers that are on their platform doing the bike stuff, and then they take it off platform, and then you follow them on Instagram and TikTok and all the rest of it, and they're influencers. That's brand owned, right? That is so incredibly powerful. So twist and move how you think about collaboration. Now, in closing, I'd like to go back to that point around humans and people, right? And whenever I do these types of talks and speeches and whatever, right, I always like to end on something that's actually about the people that's in the room. Because ultimately, if businesses and brands don't have people that work for them who are engaged and feel connected to that brand and feel that they want to put their energy and passion into it, they don't have anything, right? So ultimately, we are the most important thing, both with people that work for businesses and people that work for brands, than anything else, more than the numbers, right? More than brand, awareness and all the rest of it. So what I'd like you to do in the 1 minute I've got left, if you feel comfortable, is I'd like you to close your eyes. If you don't feel comfortable, that's fine. If you'd like to close your eyes, I'd like to tell you something. What you do every day matters more than what you do every once in a while. What you do every day matters more than what you do every once in a while. Now, open your eyes. Thank you for closing them. Now, if that's a bit too heavy for you, there's another way to say it, which is basically be like the old Kanye. Okay? Thank you very much.